Okay, in today's session, we're going to continue working on our study area. So what I've done is I've established my study area. Now I need to export this map. I need to make a map, export it, and then do like a rough design and sketch of the road layouts that I'm looking to achieve and preliminary design. So I'm going to do this in a very basic way. So this is our initial study area. The first thing I need to do is go and establish a new, so I'm going to remove these very quickly. So I want to export a new layout. So I'm going to say close for now. I'm going to go and say create new layout. So I'm going to call this A1 map. Okay, and I'm going to, so the first thing you need to do is right click in the view and go to page properties, and you need to change your page properties to an A1 sheet. Okay, a landscape. You can introduce guides as well if you'd like. It's preferable that you do use some guides. So if you go to manage guides, here you're going to go and add a couple guides, vertical and horizontal. So the first one will be 10 mil off. The next one will be, so the horizontal guide, so that will be 594, and that's you minus the, okay, so you can see I put a guide here and a guide here. This one will be 10 mil, and this will be 981 minus 10. Oh, sorry, 810. So that's 841. So it'll be 831. There we go. All right. So now I've set up my page. The next thing I need to do is go and grab my map. So here you can go and say add map, and you drag and drop it. So I want to add the map more or less in that direction. You can, I'll snap it to the top. I'm happy with that. So the next thing I need to do is select the map itself. You can go to edit item, and I want this at a fixed scale of 3000. So 1 to 3000. I think that would work fine. You can use this tool over here, move image content. So here I'm moving it in the frame. I want to get as much. Okay. So in essence, I've created a very basic map. Okay. Next thing I want to do, just to help me, I want a scale bar. So introduce a scale bar. This is the scale bar tool here. And I want the scale bar to have 3 measurements, which is perfect, and it works at 100. That's perfect for now. The scale bar is very important. It means if you're going to send this to somebody, they've got a scale to work with, and you can use a scale ruler. So I'll move this maybe to the bottom, something like that. The next thing I want to introduce, and you can see these are all got labels inside. You can add a legend. So we'll get to that in a minute. So I'm going to add a north point, and I'll put the north point over here somewhere. I can scale this up right to there. Maybe make this a fraction smaller. Okay, that works. So north is always up, and this is 300 meters. The software, I understand, it reads the size of the map and sets up the map accordingly. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So the next thing you need to do is just go and make sure that everything else, and here you can tell it which one it references. So if you had 2 maps on here, you could tell it which one it needs to reference. Okay, now that I've got a map, the next thing I need to do is I need to go and export this layout. So in my layout view here, I'm going to have some settings that I'll need to adjust. So the resolution, I'll say print to raster, but I'll leave this as is. 300 dpi is pretty good because it means that the image quality will be very good. The next thing I need to do now is export this map so that I can use this information to kind of sketch around. Okay. So I've got my study area. So now I need to start looking at putting in some roads. So redesigning the roads maybe. So I'll leave this development as part of it, and I'll redesign how the roads work. So here we'll need to develop some kind of road network to manage this. I mean, here we've got a traffic circle we could use. So here we'll need to manage, just think of how the roads would work. And I'm not going to go too crazy here. I'll use this road going around. So here I might want to introduce a network of roads. And I mean, this is quite rough. You can have a look at how these road networks are used. So that's totally up to you. But it's just to get the ball rolling. So I'm going to develop the site, and you can kind of follow what I'm doing. Okay, so all I need to do now is go to Layout, and you need to export this as an image. Export as image, okay, and I want to save this as a PNG, and I'm going to save this in my desktop in the test folder. That's fine, I can get rid of, I was going to call this A1 map, that's fine, I'm going to save this. Here you can change the resolution, and that's fine, I can press save. Okay, this will take a bit of time. Okay, you'll notice that it would have exported successfully over here. So the next thing I need to go is go to my desktop. I'm going to find this folder. Okay, so let's just put this on my desktop quickly. So in here now, there'll be this map A1 that I've just created. Okay, and the reason why you make it high DPI so that you can get good information. So I've got a scale bar. I've got some good information over here. So that I'm ready to work on this map. I've got some basic roads. The next thing you do is open up Inkscape, or you can literally print this and sketch over it, but I'm going to use Inkscape just so that you can use these tools, get comfortable using these tools. It's a good way to kind of complete your map. Okay, so once you're in Inkscape, first thing I'm going to do is go and set up my page properties. So I'm going to click on my page settings up at the top here. I'm going to make this an A1, and I'm going to make this landscape, because you want to bring it in and have the same size. And you're just going to say, that's fine, great, and you just press enter. Okay, great. So now this will be an A1. Don't worry about because all we're going to do here is just design and work over it. The next thing we need to focus on is your layers. So we need to add another layer. For now, I'll leave this layer 1. This will be my image. So I'm going to call this image. Great. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and insert this file. So I'm going to go and say import. I'll go to that test folder, and it will be A1 map PNG. Okay, open. Here it's going to ask you to embed or link. I'd rather embed this, and I'll keep everything from the file. Okay, and press OK. You want this as a high resolution as possible. It will take a couple seconds to come in. Okay, so once the file comes in, you don't have to adjust anything. What you will notice is that this will almost snap. It'll fit perfectly. Okay, so here we can change this to 0 and change this to 0. And it should line up perfectly. Okay, because we've exported an A1 to an A1. All right, so the next thing we need to do is add a layer. I'm going to call this layer 2. I'm going to call this roads. You can keep this image. You can keep adding stuff to this image and keep exporting it and using it differently. Okay. Right, so the next thing we do is create a layer roads, and I'm going to lock layer 1. Okay, layer 1 means that this image is now locked. Okay, great. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to use, you've got an option, use draw freehand, or you can use this draw Bezier curves and straight lines. Okay, so I'm going to use this option. So I'm going to zoom in over here, and I'm just going to start drawing some rough lines very quickly. We can start playing with them later, just to show how this might work. So here you might want to divide this into a grid, and we might want to lose that row there, for example. Yeah, so here we can start drawing with some rough guides. And I mean, this is just rough at the moment. So the first thing I want to do is I want to start editing this line here. So you can use this fill and stroke. So here you can edit the object. So here you can pick the stroke, paint. Here I want to change this width to maybe about 1. So millimeter wise, you can change this to 0.5 or 0.6, and you can see the line weight is changing. So let's make this 1 for now. It's going to be nice and thick. Likewise with this one. Okay, we can make this a different color as well. So here we can pick our color, and we can swing this around to find the color that will work well. What I might do is go for like a white, just so that it sticks with the road. Okay, so here, that doesn't matter. I can pull this right down to white. Yeah, and I can make them slightly wider. So let's make them about a 2. Make this 2. Okay. As well, 2. All right, so once you've got some line work, and you can start you want to start dividing this up and we can get quite creative. So we could create like a shape in here where we could work around. So we could have roads that loop around in here, which I might do. So I would say this line, I'll probably want to move down. Let's divide this evenly. You can come in here, and then what you can do is you can create little spots in here. This whole site we can also develop, but for this exercise, I'm going to focus on what's going on here. Here we see we've got some different roads happening, so we need to maybe introduce that and trace that back again. But that's something we can recapture. Like this road ends, dead ends. So here you want to start dividing. You can see here you want to start maybe putting some additional roads across. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a shape in the middle. I'm going to create a ring road effect, and then we can divide the sites up that way. Okay, this is purely diagram. I'll get rid of this road over here because I would like to develop this up here. Okay, so what you can also do is you can start using some shapes. So for example, I could use a shape over here, and what is nice is I can adjust the radiuses of these shapes over here. Okay, I'll get rid of that one. I don't need that one. So I can move the shapes. So now I would like these roads to come off, come around in here. We could have some, or what I could maybe do is introduce a smaller shape in here. So how these you can circulate. Yeah, so it's up to you. So I'm just using these tools to kind of, so here you could have a ring road and you could have a series of sites that go around. So this I might pull back to there. And I mean, you can use this as a gauge. This is rough. This is very rough town planning. Okay, and then I might introduce, here you got a road, I might introduce another road down there, another road down there. And I might, so what I've done here, I might Control C, Control V, and I might do the same down here. So here I could have the same effect. Okay, and then I'll put two lines of roads going back down. So here I'm just going to select this and make sure that this is 2 again. Select that and make that 2 as well. Okay. So we've got some nice radiuses on here. So if you click this tool over here, you can adjust the radiuses. So that might work well. Let's do the same with this one. Yeah, I'm happy with the way that's kind of looking. I've got some, if you look at the site sizes here I've got some nice sites. Here I've got some good clearance around here, so I could have a series of developments around here. Okay, and this one maybe I might want to move down. So I can use my arrow key to flip it down a bit. Okay, that's fine. So yeah, this line I might want to get that straighter again, so I can grab the point here, kind of lock it. Yeah. Okay, so I want to develop this bit of land like this. One last thing, I'm going to grab this bit of line work here. Oops, my mistake, don't do that. Select this line work, I'm going to, Control C, Control V. I'm going to put one there. I'll show you how this will work in a minute. And then Control C, Control V. And put this one over here. So here you can see I'm going to make like a bit of a road network where you interconnect here. So you've got some little developments around here, for example. Okay, that works well. All right, so maybe let's just do this first. Let's do this first. I can copy these down. Okay. So these 2 bits of line work, I'll adjust them in a minute. Control C, Control V, and put these down here like that. Okay, just make sure and select each one of these on their own. So that needs to be 2. If you scale it, adjust that. So you will just have to go back in here and play with this. But in essence, you can see I'm actually getting this to work well. So in essence, I'm just creating a rough road network that I want to use. Okay, this I'm going to delete. I'm not worried about that. So this is just very rough drawing work that I want to use to generate my site with. So in each bit of road, for example, I can now go and, so here you select the whole object itself, and now I want to edit the points themselves. So here I can drag this point, drag it down to there. You can zoom in. I mean, this is still it will always try and lock straight, and you can see that it's trying to lock straight. So that's good enough for now. This one will go to there. Likewise. But there's nothing stopping you from using, you can print this out and sketch it and scan it back in. But I mean, this is just to kind of work out how the road's going to work. Okay. So I'm going to pull that back to there. And if you use control down, it'll lock it square. Okay, if you keep control down, so that to there. Okay, so I've got some good information to start with. So this will be a main road. There'll be a traffic circle over here. You'll go up, and there's all these developments. So I mean, it's up to you. It's how you want to split the site up and how you want the site to work. There's lots of ways to do this. Okay, you can have more roads interconnecting, but let's assume that these are all going to be quite industrial, like housing developments. So depending on your type of development, your road network will kind of be designed to cater for that. Okay, but in essence, you can see I've used Inkscape to kind of generate a rough road network, and I'm using these lineways to kind of match what's come out of Qgis. Okay, so I'm happy with this network. So I want to go and create this road network in Qgis now. Okay. Now, just one thing to bear in mind in Qgis, these radiuses, they're very hard to achieve, but let's see what we can do. I'll see what I can do to achieve this kind of radius. So click this bit of line work, use your edit path tool, so grab the node itself. Let me just show you one last, just for interest's sake over here. So here I might create a bit of road network that'll come. So this I might just subdivide as well. So I'm going to create this path tool. I'm going to start over here, and it'll find the endpoint of a node. And if you hold down the cursor, it will start introducing curves, and you can really make a curved road work well here. So I'm going to grab the end here. I'm going to end the command. Just remember, I need to change the stroke to 2. Okay, and I'm going to change the color to white. Okay. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to edit that curve. I want it to work a lot better. So this point I'm going to pull up to there. And you can see now, and what's neat is you can click on these nodes and you can convert these nodes from around to, so you can you can make them work like arcs, for example. So here you can really go to town and make and it's a quick way to kind of sketch and kind of get roads to do what you want. So here you can see I can make quite a interesting shape. Okay, so here you can make this, and as you bend the curve, you can make the curve more. Okay, so that's totally up to you. So this you can pull back a bit better, use these points. You can also click on this point, for example. Oops, don't do that. Click that to move that maybe. So you want it to do something like that. Okay, but in essence, if you want to get rid of that, you can. So here it gives you options on how to make these points curve, for example. Or if you click this again, it will remove it totally. It just becomes a corner, straight corner. But then again, you can make this an arc again, and then do the same process again, and then it'll allow you to. Okay, so that's totally up to you. Now it's a perfect corner. So here, for example, I would come out straight, use control, it'll lock it straight. So here I want to lock this straight. And you can use guidelines to kind of do this as well. So you can pull guidelines in here, you can pull them from the side, and it'll make these guidelines that you can use as construction lines. If you don't want them away, just pull them away. That's it. So you can use those as construction lines. But you can see now I've made quite an interesting road. Okay, so I've designed my road network very quickly, very, very easily. And I mean, this is concept. You'll do the fine tuning in Qgis, but in essence, I just want you to start thinking about how to use this correctly. Now, once you've got the image and you're happy with the image, the next thing I need to do is go File. I need to export this. So my mistake, I'm going to go and say Export PNG image. Okay. So here you just need to tell it what to do. So the first thing you need to set is I want to set. And you can set your pixels here. I'm going to leave it at, I'll change it to 150, and I'm just going to change where this needs to export. So I'm clicking Export As, and I'm going to find the folder where this needs to export. Okay. Okay, so it's asking me where to export this PNG, so I'm just going to put this in my test folder. I'm going to call this new roads. Okay, now you'll see that it's changed all of this, and the next thing I'm going to set is this to be 150. Just notice that when I press enter, it's going to adjust the pixel sizes. Okay, once you've done everything and it's in the right folder, you're going to say export. Now you'll see it will work here in this taskbar. And it will take a bit of time. So once it's done, I must just say close when complete, but I think it is done. So now I can close this. So the next thing I want to go and do now is go and look at the new roads. So now this is a PNG file, which is called new roads. You can zoom in and you can see it's done a fairly good job. Okay, so we've got some existing buildings that we might have to lose and demolish. But in essence, I've got a cool road layout now that I can follow in QGIS. Okay, so once I've got the image, what I need to do is go back into QGIS. Okay, and you can close this because this is all fine. So close that. It's part of the file. Save the file that it remembers. Okay, I'm going to save this as a new project in any case. So save as. I'm going to call the study area. I'm going to call this roads. New roads. New roads. Okay. All right. So what I need to do now is I need to insert. I need to georeference that image. So the first thing I need to do is go to roster. You're going to go to Georeferencer, and then you can go and find that new map. So you're going to use this tool over here, open roster, and you're going to go and find that new roads PNG file. You're going to say open. So what it does is it opens this PNG file. Now what you need to do to georeference this image, you need to pick a point in here that references a point in here. Okay, and you're going to use these tools over here. So you can say, you can move points, you can adjust points, but the first thing you need to do is you need to add a point. Okay, all right. So we can start georeferencing and it exports the image, etc., etc. But the first thing you want to do is start adding points that match up. So the first thing you do is you're going to go and find something that you can always find in the QGIS folder. So I think a building that will work well is this one over here. So I'm going to pick this first point over here, and it's going to ask you, do you want to put a coordinate in? So I'm going to say no, I want to work off my map because I've got this point over here. You're going to click this point over here and you can press OK. So what it does is it creates a point here and it creates a point in your map. Zoom out. You need a minimum of 3 points to make this accurate. So the next point, you must find stuff that is very easy to reference. So I like the square over here, so I'm going to use this point over here. I'm going to go to my map and I'm going to go, this is quite a good point to share. Okay, press OK, and now you can double check, so you can keep going back and forth. That's perfect. I want one more point to make this very accurate. So I might find the reach of this building. Okay, so you just need to select one more point. So I'm going to select this ridge over here, and I'm going to say from map, and I'm going to find that last point, which will be over here. Okay, great. Press OK. All right, so now we've got these points tying up, which is perfect. So once you've done that, you're going to go and start the please set. Okay, so now we need to set what type of transfer. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is going to go and find, it's just the type of transfer. I just always use the first one, which is fine. Here I'm going to use the same coordinate system, and I'm going to use this nearest neighbors. That's fine. All of this stuff is pretty much, and I'm going to say load into QGIS when done as well. So I want to load this map into my project. Then I just need to go and find a location to save it. So I'm going to go to desktop. I'm going to go and put this in my test folder. I'm going to call this roads modified TIFF, but you can call this new roads TIFF. Keep this all as is, and it will automatically load this into the project when it's done. So press save and then press OK. This will take a couple seconds for it to geoprocess. This does take a bit of time. So once it's done, it will load it into your project. Now that it's done, you can close the georeferencing and you can just say discard points because the georeferencing is done. So what you'll see it's done now, it's actually loaded in this new roads layer for you. And you'll see that it'll tie up, it ties up almost perfectly. So I'll put this at the back. So if I switch to my new roads image now, and you can see it gives me an underlay, which is almost exactly georeferenced with my Google Earth photo. So I'm going to use this to generate my new roads. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and grab my roads layer. Okay. I want to edit my roads layer. So I'm going to just use the existing roads layer that I created. So the first thing you want to go and do is click on the roads layer and you're going to start editing the shapefile. So you're going to say toggle editing. Okay, now once you've got the road selection, the first thing you also need to make sure is make sure that you've got all of these switched on, like the snaps. You want to make sure that it will snap, for example, and all that kind of information. So you want advanced tools. Okay, so then you go and say edit. You want like all these advanced tools here so that you can create shapes in that. And what it allows you to do, it allows you to select these objects in the file, and we'll start connecting them together. So the first thing I want to do is this road is going. So I'm going to select that road and delete it. Okay. So the first thing I want to start doing is start creating some new lines. Okay. And I'll show you how to set up the style like I've set it up here as well correctly. So the first thing I want to do is go and say, I'm going to start creating. So here you can edit vertex, and now you want to say add a line feature. So the first thing I'll go and do is I'll go and add some rough, very rough line features. And you click and you right click to let go, and you give the road a name. That's something that we'll tackle with later, but that's all I want to do for now. And I'm going to start these ones. Yeah, where these start and that's totally up to you. So I'm going to select. And there's some advanced digitizing tools that you also need to enable, and just make sure that you work. You see it'll make you work. You can lock angles. So here I'm just going to go and create some rough angles. Now, there's one thing to bear in mind when you're using Qgis to make these arcs. It is difficult. So you're going to click. Now you're going to go and find the arc tool. So you're going to add circular string. You're going to select over here. Let me just undo that, cancel, undo, go back one. Let me just start that again, my apologies. And start there, lock it on, make sure you're using this tool over here. So I'm going to start over here. Make sure you're using vertical. We can fine tune this information now. So more or less where you want the arc to start, you're going to say, click the arc tool. So you're going to say, my apologies, this is not working. It doesn't want to work at the moment. So let's do that again. So I want to start from there. I want to go to there. Now I want to draw an arc. My apologies, this is not working. Let's pause this again. Remember, there's no real arcs. So then this is pretty rough. You can fine tune stuff once you're done. So just start creating a feature. So I'm going to create a road. So here to allow me to snap to certain objects. So I'm going to snap on this endpoint. I'm going to come down vertical. So I've got my advanced snapping tools on. So if I zoom in, you want to snap vertically, you press Ctrl A, it'll lock it on that vertical axis. So I'm going to come right back to here. So I'm going to say to there. Okay, that's my first road. Okay, so that will work fine. Look, it's not 100% accurate, but this will come into play in a minute. So I'm going to start over here somewhere. I'm going to switch off the midpoint. I don't need midpoint for the time being. So I'm going to start anywhere over here. I'm going to lock it horizontal, Ctrl A. I'll pull this road all the way to there maybe. So that's our next road. Okay, so here I'm going to make a complete loop. So I'm going to start over here somewhere. And here this is purely just, you don't have, just one thing to bear in mind with Qgis, you don't have technically don't have arcs. All roads are actually designed as, okay, so I'm going to come back to here, middle of the road. I mean, this is just digitized. There is ways to go and fine tune this information, okay, to make it and then I'll end that there. Okay, so once you kind of got your shape, so what it'll allow you to do, I can go and edit this point now and make sure that it ties up. So you can select this point here and you can move it around, and I'll snap it to the end there. Okay, and likewise with this, just make sure that they're one shape. So this shape I might want to move the shape back there, and then the shape I can drag and pull to that point there. Okay, that's good enough for now. All right, it's just picking up my roads. I know that the symbolic doesn't quite work here, but that does happen. So, okay, that's fine. So I'm going to go and create some more roads. There is a way to close these loops in that, for example, but for what we're trying to do, this is perfect. These curves, just try and get them as close as possible. I mean, it doesn't have to be 100% perfect. We're not civil engineers, we're town planners in this instance. So we create another shape, so start over here. Just undo to start again. You use the backspace button to start again. So backspace, just cancel, stop there, and come straight down to here. To there, finish. My apologies. Switch off tracing. You don't want to trace something. So yeah, I want to go from here. And I'm going to lock it, Control A, so it locks it on this grid. I'm click anywhere here, finish command. Now this road you can copy over there and you can fine tune it. So these verticals I can copy around. So you're going to use the pick tool, select the road itself. Okay, and then you're going to use this tool over here, which is copy. So I'm going to copy this feature and it will lock it vertical. Do the same there. Okay, then I'm going to use the pick tool. I'm going to select both of these lines, hold control down. I'm going to use the copy tool again, and these roads I'll put down here somewhere. Okay, what is also neat is I can select this shape at the top and I'm going to copy this down as well. Okay, and it'll lock it vertical. So this I want to put over there somewhere. We can go and fine tune this information a bit later, but this is enough information to kind of work with. Okay, so we're going to get rid of this. Okay, now these I can then go and select both of these, and now you're going to go to the move tool here, move. Okay, so you can move those over there. Okay, so I've completed the basic road layout as I wanted, so I probably need to, so for example, I could join these two features together, or I can simply just extend this bit of line work. So I'm going to select this object, and what I'll do here is I'm going to introduce another point. So here I'm going to grab another point, I'm going to put the point over here, and then this point I'm going to select and put it over there. Okay, then what I'll do is I'll start adding some points in here. Look, tar roads are never really perfectly curved. You just got to bear that in mind. They use segments. It's like here, you'll see they've used a whole lot of segments, and you can fine tune these segments if need be. So I'll put one over here somewhere. So in the middle, and here you can just keep fine tuning this curve. Okay. You can switch off snaps if it's interfering with you. You can switch off snaps very quickly. Switch snaps back on. And then this one I'll probably need to add a point over here. So here you can just say switch off again. Switch off snaps. So for this type of work, I mean, that's all you need to do. So here maybe add one more point, refine this curve a bit. Okay, but in a nutshell, that's all you need to do. So once you've completed the roads, You can unselect everything. These, if they need fine-tuning, you can, but in essence, it gives me enough information where these roads sit. Okay, so yes, there is a bit of a draw issue here, but in essence, what is nice about this, if I switch this off now, here are my new roads, here's my new road network, okay, and I'm pretty happy with that, and you can then save this file again, okay. So you just say save edits, and then you can just unselect the edit function. So now I've got my road network. Okay, one last thing you can do is you can go and give each street a name, for example. So that's something that I'm going to do now. So I'm going to go back into edit mode. I'm going to open up my table. So this table, for each element that you select, you'll notice that the table will it will highlight. Okay, so it'll highlight the objects in the table. So click the table function, pull this to the side. I like to use show selected features only. So here, if I select this one here, so here you can go and give this a name. So call this, you can give each one a name. I'm just going to name this as main. Okay, Main Street. Okay, this one we can go and give a name as well. We can go back here. That one you can call it, again, I'm just going to say selected features only. I'm going to call this Ring Road 1, for example. Select this one. Go to your table. I'm just going to keep doing this. If you use 2 screens, it's a bit better. Okay, I'm going to call this Ring Road 2. Okay, so what's neat about this? You can use your labels later on, but in essence, okay, update selected, okay. Okay, so now I've added this to my road network. So what you could also do is you can then duplicate this out. So that's something I might do as well, save. So what you could do is you can then export this feature as a new roads tool. So in essence, I've used this roads shapefile to kind of generate the shapefile. So for this exercise, that's all that we need to. So I've created the road and we've worked over the existing shapefile. So what I could maybe do is I can export this as, so here I can export just this feature as my new roads, for example. So that's quite easy to do. You can say export, save feature as, and you can make this as a shapefile again. This is always the same. Just remember, make sure that it's always the same. And here you can say there's an option here that it will insert it. You might just have to ask it to insert the file automatically. It doesn't always do it, but anyway, here you can go and save. I'm just going to save these very quickly. I'll just save this in my test folder on my desktop, just so that you understand what's going on. I'm going to export this as roads. So I'm going to call this roads new. See, roads new, and you can export this file, and it inserts it. So what it does is it duplicates roads. So this is quite important. So here I've got my roads new and my old roads. So what I could maybe do in this one is get rid of all these other roads. So you just want the roads inside the development, for example. So I've created I'm going to get rid of all of these ones because they're not relevant to my project. I'm more interested in the roads in my project. So this I'll get rid of. So I'm just wanting the roads in my development. So like that. Oops. Get rid of this one. Get rid of that. So in essence, that's my new road and my development. Those are my new roads, my development. Okay. I'm going to show you how we go and set up to make them look correct. Okay, I'll show you this very quickly as well, so you understand how this works. So switch this back on. Okay, you see the current and safety settings save. Okay, so I want to just quickly fix this road setting now. So finish. So the first thing you need to do is you need to go to properties. Okay. So to make this look like a proper tar road, the first thing you need to do is you need to introduce three line types. Okay, so the first line type will be the outer line, and this will be make this black, for example. And with the measurements, you're going to make this meters to scale. So it'll use the scale here and change this to the right scale. So a typical road is 7 meters wide. So I'm going to press apply. So you see it's made a 7 meter wide road, which is what I want to see. The next line I want to introduce, it's a simple line as well. I'm going to change this to white. So I want to make this look like a road. This line, same story. I'm going to make this meters to scale, and I'm going to make this 6.5. Press apply. Now you'll see it'll make a nice symbolic line, and then the last line I need to play with, I'm going to make this 0.2, and that can just be millimeters for now. I'm happy with that, and this will be dashed line. Okay, press apply, and the color is black. So if we zoom in now, you'll see that it's got a nice line up and it's got a dashed line in the middle, just to represent a road a bit better. Okay, so in essence, here's my new roads. I can put my layer on beneath, so this will sit on top. It's just what I want to see. And then I've got some context. So this image, you can see I've used this image to drive my new design. But in essence, this is all I want to see. So you've set up your roads correctly. You've got a new road shape file that I want you to send me. And you can either work on the existing road file that you've created, but that's totally up to you. And I've got a buildings layer where I started documenting the buildings, and we'll tackle a bit later. But for now, I just want some road, like a road network of how we can develop this. Okay, and you've given me, and I can show you. I'll export this to SketchUp as well, so you also get a good feel of how this works. But in essence, that's all I want you to do for the time being, is just to produce the road network using the technique I've given you.